I don't know. Mom, you can let us know if we're wrong, but I do feel like this is the kind of movie that she would pick to watch on a given night where you would be like, "Really? That's not what I would have expected." One of
Right.
my so this is like a side trip,
Yeah. Side
but
quest.
side quest. So one of the things that I believe about homeschooled families, us being homeschooled, is that one of the ways that the kid like we all love, beautiful music, but I think we all secretly love heavy metal as well. And there's a lot of I don't know if you would even qualify them as heavy metal bands, but there's a lot of like hard rock bands that I am convinced were homeschooled. Whenever they're singing about flying away on unicorns, I'm looking at you, Glory Hammer. Or there's a song we heard recently that I think Derek introduced us to. It's just these guys they're in their music video, they're dressed as dwarves and they're digging holes and they're talking about how they dig holes. And that's what dwarves do. And so I'm convinced that they're homeschooled. Well, anyways, I came across one of these bands that is a pretty hard rock, heavy metal band that all of their songs are about historical battles or men or women who fought in these historical battles, and they tell stories drawing a lot from like World War II. And so the music is awesome, but the stories are also awesome, and they cover a lot of stories from a lot of different countries that I was unfamiliar with, but then have gone and read those stories, and it's just yeah, courage and valor. It's awesome. Well, one of the things that we like to do on road trips is listen to music. One of my favorite memories of all time was coming back from the Golden Hour music video shoot with me, Dad, Brittany, and you, Janelle, and we were just going through, and we were kind of just DJing, like picking songs, and we would stick with genres, and we would just, here's a song I don't think you've heard. Here's a song we all love. We even did that with Gordon Lightfoot, where we each picked a Gordon Lightfoot song and played one. So it was really fun. And on that trip, introduced you guys, or at least Dad and Brittany, to this band. And later on, Dad and Brittany and Mom were on a road trip, and they were going across the country from Washington to Tennessee. And about probably 15 hours into the trip, Brittany texts me and says, "The moment has arrived." And I just sent back like question marks, and she said, "15 hours into our road trip, Mom requested a song by Sabaton." She said, "Okay, I think I'm ready for a Sabaton song," which is I thought was amazing because
Yes.
our mom is she loves classical music and moody
Yes.
radio, which I actually love too.
Ah,
Probably more often than not, K-Love, which is kind of our version of moody radio out here in the Pacific Northwest, is on, and I love that. And so it just made me so happy to know because it just seems to confirm this idea in my heart that all
yes.
homeschoolers and homeschoolees have a little bit of hard rock hallelujah in them.
Yes. Well, you've passed the love of Glory Hammer on to basically the entire homeschool community out here because my kids love it and they've been like following like now they've like figured out the story that crosses all 4 of the albums that they have. And they love Sabaton and we love Peyton Parrish, especially when he does his Disney covers because those are hilarious and just epic. And we're like,
Yes.
"Oh, they should have done it like this in the movie."
Yes.
But
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Well,
yeah.
I do think Derek. I don't know if Derek ever tunes in, but Derek is very responsible for this because I grew up just mostly listening to country music, moody radio, and my soundtracks that I held very dear. And for
Mm.
all of high school and college, it was mostly soundtracks. But Derek came along and was the first one to introduce me to Dragon Force. So it was all downhill from there.
Well, we quote you a lot because you had introduced me to Sabaton when on that road trip, and then I came home, and a couple months later, I was like it was just one of those days where it's like, "Okay, we've got a lot of chores, and I gotta make supper, and there's this all and I just need something
You need
to kinda
liquid
get me out of."
adrenaline, audio
Yeah,
adrenaline.
exactly, I need to be, like, in a happy place while I'm doing all of these chores, and so
While
I
I do these
texted
things that
you.
I hate.
Right, exactly. I need my word shirt, man.
You
But
do.
anyway, I texted you and I was like, "Okay, I need to listen to something super upbeat. What are, like, a couple of other songs that Sabaton that are good?" Because I was like, "I don't know. I could look up Sabaton and listen to
Did I
whatever."
send you the Sabaton starter kit?
You did. You sent that to me, and then you said I think you sent me, like, 9 song titles, and then you said, "There are more good ones, But if you listen to more than 9 Sabaton songs in a row, you will open your eyes and find yourself riding a tank through the Holy Land with a bazooka on your shoulder, ready to avenge all injustices past, present, and future."
True story. True story.
So so now whenever we introduce Sabaton to anybody, we use that quote.
It is true. It is true. I very often I very often will be listening to that station and be like, it's ti it's time to go over to my classical music channel before things go too far."
Yes.
All that being said, I don't
Emperor's
even
New
know where
Groove, man.
Emperor's New
It was
Groove.
fantastic.
Boom. It's awesome.